Hey everyone, I'm Brian with Aromacup.com. Thanks as always for joining me here in my virtual coffee shop brought to you by Aromacup.com. In today's video, I'm going to be giving you an overview of a brand new version essentially of Keurig's B40 single-serve coffee machine. This is actually the B48. It's the Keurig Elite B48 single-serve brewer. We're going to show you some of the differences in this new updated version of the B40 and show you how to make use of this machine. Pretty straightforward. So let's dive right in and talk about the Keurig Elite B48. Let's talk about what's in the box with the Elite B48. You have, of course, your B48 brewer, which we'll talk about in depth real soon here. You have a water filter for the 48-ounce water reservoir. You get a pack of 12 K-cups, just some variety right there. And you have, of course, your instruction manual, quick start information, and various things like that. Let's talk real quickly about the difference between the old version of the B40 and this upgraded version of the B48. Really, the only major difference here, you can see they are the same size. In fact, their water reservoirs are both the same size as well. Only major difference here is that on the B40, the original version, we only had an 8 and a 10-ounce brewing size. And now on the B48, we have 3 brewing sizes. We have a 6, an 8, and a 10-ounce. And you can see, of course, 3 buttons here. We've got 3 buttons on the box right here on the packaging for the B48. That's pretty much the only major difference between these two machines when it comes to comparing them. The B40 is not going to be in production anymore, so if you have one of these machines, consider yourself a Keurig collector because you have one of the older Keurig machines now. Add that to your collection, and let's move on and talk about the B48 and its features if you can add that one to your collection. Let's talk about the features on the Elite B48. We'll start at the bottom as we always do with the tray. This has the same removable drip tray that we've seen on other Keurig machines. Pull that out to brew into larger tumblers. Real easy to make use of. You have your brewing spigots and central station right here. Same K-cup technology that we've come to know from Keurig. Still uses the same form of K-cups that are widely accessible just about anywhere that you go. Let's move over here to the buttons. Again, pretty straightforward. We have 3 brew sizes now. We have a 6, an 8, and a 10-ounce. So you have a little more variety in the brew sizes you can make use of. You've got your power button, and then you have the auto off button. If you want to engage auto off on the machine, you simply just press that button and the machine's going to turn itself off after non-use so that you don't use up excess electricity, things like that. And then you have 3 lights just above the auto off button. You've got heating, going to tell you when the machine is heating up. Descale, of course, tell you when it's time to descale and clean the machine. And then you have the add water light, just going to let you know when it's time to add water. Speaking of water, let's talk about the water reservoir. We have a 48-ounce water reservoir on the Elite B48. Pretty easy to remove and fill, and you can put a water filter into this tank if you want to make sure that you're filtering the water that you're using to brew with. Keurig, as always, recommends that you use bottled or filtered water inside of your Keurig machine in order to get the best possible brew. That's pretty much all of the controls on this machine. It's really simple and straightforward to use, so let's dive into brewing some coffee with the machine. Let's brew some coffee using the Elite B48. Really easy to do. We've talked about how to brew coffee with Keurig machines many times in the past. Open up your brewing central station here at the top of the machine. Take a K-cup. I've got a Starbucks Sumatra right here at dark. Place that into the brewing central station right here. Close that up. You're going to puncture that K-cup and get it ready for brewing. We'll place a Bodum mug right underneath the brew spigot, and now we're just going to choose a brew size. Let's go ahead and use the 8-ounce. That's about medium-sized cup, usually going to be pretty good for everyday brewing. Simply press that button and we'll start the brew process. Now, you can, of course, also make your own coffee using Keurig machines, and you can do that by using one of the many different brew your own options that are available. One of my favorites is the Echo Brew. right here. The great thing about this is you can grind your own coffee or use your own ground coffee and brew it in your Keurig machine if you're using an option like this. There is also the My K-Cup option available from Keurig, which will allow you to brew your own coffee. I've found that I really like the Echo Brew. It gives a great cup of coffee, and it's really easy for me to save money on coffee and, of course, be able to brew exactly the type of coffee that I like. So if you want to be a little more picky, check out an option like the Echo Brew or one of the other options which allow you to brew your own coffee using a Keurig single-serve brewer. So we're just about done here. You can see that, that things are still quite quick when it comes to this machine. Keurig machines definitely brew very quickly. If you like a quick cup of coffee, should be able to get it with just about any Keurig machine. The B48 still keeping up that process of making a quick hot cup of coffee. Speaking of hot, let's find out about the temperature that the B48 is brewing at. That's quite good. We're looking at about 160, maybe go up to about 170 degrees coming out of this machine, factory standard. Now, there's not a way to adjust the temperature of your brew coming out of the Keurig Elite B48, but that is pretty much the optimal temperature for a good cup of coffee. You should be able to add some cream to this, not lose too much temperature in the coffee and still have a nice hot cup. And of course, put that into your to-go tumbler, get on the road, get to work, anything else you need to do. So there you go. That's how easy it is to brew using the Keurig B48. Again, it's very simple and straightforward as with all the Keurig machines. Clean up real easy. Open up the brewing central station, pull out your used K-Cup, toss that, and move on to your next cup. Of course, get on with your day. Let's do some quick tips and troubleshooting on the Elite B48 brewer. One thing that people wonder about a lot is, can I only brew coffee with the Keurig machines? And of course you can brew coffee, but you can also do a number of other beverages, including tea, iced teas, iced coffees, and you also have access to hot chocolates and some other various beverages. Just depends on the K-Cup type that you happen to be using. You can also use the hot water from these machines, of course, to make quick meals such as cup of noodles, oatmeals, things like that. So that's a quick and easy tip on this machine. A couple other things we want to talk about. You want to descale this machine at least once a month. That light will probably come on telling you it's time to descale, but even if it doesn't, it's worth descaling once a month because that's going to keep your machine clean, give you the best flavor in your beverage. And speaking of cleaning, very important to clean the brewing basket as frequently as you really can, and that's really easy to do. You see, I just opened up the central station here, and I put my finger underneath the brew basket and pushed out this main basket. This is where you have a needle which punctures that K-Cup when it's time to start brewing, and that needle can start to build up with grounds and coffee oil and things like that. So you want to just clean this out with some light soap and water, a little bit of warm water, dry it out, and then pop it back into your Keurig machine, and that's going to really give you the best operation with your Keurig. Other than that, the machine is very easy to maintenance, and of course you can also clean the tray very easily by just pulling it out. Clean that tray if you can at least daily, because all that excess water and coffee can start to really mess things up. So keep this machine clean. It's going to work really well for you. Another tip, something that we've sort of pulled together from our friends and fans here at Aromacup.com, some folks have said that they get coffee grounds in their coffee when brewing with the Keurig machine that uses K-Cups. And the reason for that is that K-Cups are vacuum sealed, and that's good because it keeps the oxygen out and keeps the coffee inside of them fresh. But that can be a little bit to the detriment of your brew process from time to time, and the reason for that is that when you put this K-Cup into the brew basket, if it's not punctured, it's going to be punctured when you close the brew basket. But what happens is that when you close in, you puncture it with the two needles that are in the brew basket right here. You actually let that vacuum seal out, and you get coffee that comes out of the top part of the sealed K-Cup here. It gets all over the needle that punctures it on the top, and then that coffee ground actually makes its way down and ends up in your beverage. So the way that we suggest getting around that is to pre-puncture your K-Cup. When you first take your K-Cup, what you can do is, rather than letting it be punctured on both ends by the brew basket, just take it and then push it down onto the needle right here. And all you need to do is kind of hold and then push. And you can see I've punctured that seal now because the top foil here has actually lost some of its pressure. Now, the good thing about this is that when I close up my brew basket and I'm ready for brewing, I'm not going to have coffee grounds essentially volcanoing out from the top of the K-cup and then therefore ending up in my beverage. So that's a quick way that you can keep from getting coffee grounds in your beverage when you are brewing with a Keurig K-cup brewer. Again, just remember, keep this machine clean and it's going to treat you right. Clean it daily, doing the simple stuff, and then descale it once a month, and this machine is going to work for you for quite some time. Let's talk about pricing and bottom line with the Keurig Elite B48 brewer. Pricing for this machine is running about $120. That's the suggested retail price. If you shop around, you might find a different price. Check us out at Aromacup.com for coupons and ways that you can save money on machines just like this one. But that's the price you're going to find this machine at, about average. So $120, pretty nominal to be able to get you into the world of single-serve brewing. This is a good entry-level brewer. So that leads us into the bottom line. Again, this is a good entry-level single-serve brewer. It doesn't have all the bells and whistles that you're going to find on some of the higher model versions of Keurig single-serve brewers and other brewers that are available out there. But as an entry-level brewer, it's great. It's going to work well at home, in the office, things like that. Gives you access to 3 different brew sizes, which is well improved over the original version of this machine. It's nice to have that variety. It's got a fairly large water tank, so you're not going to be filling this up all the time. It's easy to clean, obviously, and very easy to operate. So in all, I would say that this is really a great machine to get into the world of single-serve brewing. If you want to be a little more selective about how you brew and what you brew, you're going to want to check out some other Keurig brewers, and you can check out our other videos, of course, to find reviews and information about all the Keurig brewers that are available to you. But that right there is pretty much everything you need to know about the Keurig Elite B48 brewer. Again, retailing about $120. Going to find it just about everywhere. Keurig machines are pretty available and a great way to dive into the world of single-serve brewing. So there you go, guys. That's the Keurig Elite B48 single-serve brewer. I'm Brian with Aromacup.com. I want to thank you guys, as always, for joining me here in my virtual coffee shop brought to you by Aromacup.com. And as always, enjoy your cup, and I'll see you next time. Take care.